before we get started, let's check out the links in my description. We all want nice things. We want the car, we want a house, we want a high limit credit card. But if you don't have at least a 680 credit score, you're not even in the game. So click this link here to know where you stand and get your free credit scores from all three bureaus. That will be Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And also get your reports. If you would like to be free and become financially independent through entrepreneurship, click this link here to be free. If you'd like to get Cashback, which is a discount during shopping, please click this link here to see my favorite cashback sites. And if you enjoy the music you hear in the background, please click the link here and subscribe to It's Oasis. Hello everyone, welcome back to Community Wealth. And today we're going to go into a little bit about credit and what's going on as far as the government and credit. There's an article out about the Congress trying to take over credit reporting. So I don't know how that's going to affect everything, but we're still accustomed to the regular credit industry and credit reporting standards with the big three: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. With that being said, before all of this takes place, if it even takes place, go ahead and sign up for the credit monitoring service where you can get all three scores and all three reports from those big three. That way you will know it's on your report, so you know how to tackle it and how to dispute it by going to the do-it-yourself credit repair playlist and learn how to dispute these derogatories on your credit. So again, click the credit monitoring service link in the description to get your scores, reports from all the big three: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Right, well, let's get into this article. Congress considers credit reporting overhaul, including putting government in charge of scores. This is from the USA Today. 3 reporting bureaus established consumer credit scores, but that could change. Amid all of this week's news, one potentially game-changing piece of legislation seems to slip under the radar: the idea of dramatically overhauling the U.S. credit reporting industry. And that's true. Nobody was paying attention to that. They were always looking at what's going on with the administration as far as PPP, EIDL, all the other ones that's going on, and different back and forth crap that's going on between the governments and, things like that. But this is something that can change your life drastically. All right, even more so than the free money they're giving out. Okay. Good credit is a gateway to wealth, said House Committee on Financial Services Chair Maxine Waters in California said Tuesday. Yet, for far too long, our credit reporting system has kept people of color and low-income persons from access to capital to start a small business, access to mortgage loans to become homeowners, and access to credit to meet financial emergencies. And that's true. I will agree with that 100%. That's why I teach people about credit. That's why I'm telling you how to go about getting your credit together so you can access all of the financial products your financial institutions has to offer. Waters added that the House passed 2 bills out of the committee before the pandemic: the Comprehensive Credit Act and the Protecting Your Credit Score Act of 2021, which provide long overdue reforms to our credit reporting system. Both bills are now back under consideration. During Tuesday's hearing, Waters and her committee heard from consumer protection advocates like Chi Wu of the National Consumer Law Center, who proposed replacing the privately run 3 credit bureau system with a public credit registry. It will operate under the umbrella of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, which guards consumers against unfair or abusive practices. I actually got videos about how I use the CFPB to get things removed off my credit report, It's in the do-it-yourself credit playlist. You will see it. Or if you just go scroll through my videos, you will see how I used CFPB. While public agencies are not perfect, at least they will not have profit making as their top priority, Wu told the House Committee on Financial Services during her testimony. They would be responsive to public pressure and government oversight. They could also be charged with developing credit scoring models to reduce the yawning racial and economic inequality in this country. Wu added, the fact that these are private, profit-seeking companies explains why the credit bureaus are constantly expanding their products into uses such as employment, insurance, and tenant screening that ultimately harm Americans and contribute to the massive inequality in our nation. Waters noted that creating a credit reporting agency that is consumer-oriented would be a major upgrade over today's broken, biased credit reporting system. Maybe, I really don't know, maybe that could be the case. But when government get involved in something, you know, all that politicking is just crazy, right? But I think all of it has to do with politics because, you know, you have the lobbyists and things like that. And so everything goes hand in hand in my opinion. But I don't know. I don't know if government running it would make it any better. That's just my opinion. In addition to the single credit bureau idea, Wu also proposed several other policies that, if implemented, could improve the financial lives of Americans struggling to improve their credit scores and financial lives. Prohibiting the use of credit score information for purposes unrelated to credit decisions. This means most employers can no longer use credit reports in their candidate screening process. Reduce the amount of time negative information remains on your credit report. Information like missed payments and collections will fall after 4 years instead of 7. Bankruptcies will continue to stay in for 7. Limit the reporting of medical debt. They would prohibit the reporting of medical debt for medically necessary services and delay the reporting of unpaid medical bills for 1 year to give you time to resolve issues with hospitals and insurance carriers. That's kind of sort of in place right now. I don't think it's a year though. I believe it's like 6, 7, 8 months, something like that. But something like that is kind of in place for medical. Protect economic victims of COVID-19. The lawmakers hope to put a moratorium on the reporting of negative information incurred during the pandemic and other disasters. To illustrate the impact of COVID on consumer credit, Waters shared a story. Last week, I received a letter from a gentleman in Ohio. In this letter, he explained how he had lost his job because of the pandemic. Without his salary and with no help from any of his creditors, he couldn't afford to cover all of his bills. Though he had never before missed a credit card payment, his credit score has suffered so badly, he wrote, and I quote, "I couldn't get credit now if I paid someone to give me credit." He closed his letter by asking what this committee was doing to protect consumers like him. How things work now. Currently, Americans have multiple scores from each of the 3 major reporting bureaus. Scoring models vary in how which factors are weighed more heavily, but all credit scores are used to evaluate a person's ability to manage credit and debt. They're used to decide who gets a car or home loan, credit cards, apartment. These factors include payment history. Are you consistently on time or late paying your bills? Credit utilization. How much of your total credit are you currently using? Length of credit history. How long have your credit cards and loans been open and are they in good standing? New credit. Have you been frequently applying for credit lately? Credit mix. Do you have a variety of credit such as loans and credit cards? The goal. Eliminate errors, ensure fair practices, end confusion. Fixing mistakes on a credit report, let alone all 3 versions, can be a Byzantine system of filling out forms and phone calls. Yeah, it is kind of a nuance, but it works. Trust me, it works. And I've done it several times. And now I'm able to do things that I couldn't do before. And the more you learn about it, the better it works out in your favor. Again, I just got qualified for a $63,000 loan, and I also qualified for a $24,000 piece of property. All right. So, I mean, we got high limit credit cards, so long as you figure it out, which is not really hard. They make it seem like it's so tough. It's not really hard. You just got to look at it and go about it. The more you get involved, the more you learn, just like with anything. Just like with your job, the more or the longer you're on your job, the more you learn about that job and the better you are at it. That's just what it is. And the versions it is now, yes, they're for profit, but it works. And once you figure it out, which is not really difficult at all, you got it. You got it. Straight up, you got it. The fact that their consumers are creditors and other users of information explains the unacceptable error rates and bias against consumers who complain about errors, who argue, adding that if consumers are not able to obtain legal redress for FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act violations, a key means of enforcement disappears, making the broken credit reporting system much, much harder to fix. A public credit registry would replace or provide an alternative to this broken system. Both Wu and Waters referenced a recent Supreme Court decision which narrowed the case brought by an Arizona man who had successfully sued TransUnion for relief after a car dealership's credit check incorrectly flagged him as being on a terrorist watch list. But even smaller errors can cost you over the long haul in the form of higher interest rates on mortgages and car loans, or possibly getting a mortgage or rent application denied even if you satisfy the income requirements. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Even if you have a high credit score, even if you have everything under control, there's still areas if you're not paying attention, no matter what's going on, where they're going to get you. I've seen people with high credit scores getting auto loans of close to 20%. I had one with Santander, which I got videos about. I'm going things over with Santander with the credit bureaus and CFPB. But yes, I had a 764 when I got the auto loan with Santander. Santander didn't care about no credit. They didn't care about how much money you had or anything. All they cared about was getting that loan. They didn't look at any of my income. They didn't look at anything. I don't even really think they looked at my score. I dropped $500, and next thing you know, I had this auto loan of $22,000, and the interest rate was somewhere, I think, like 24% or up, something like that. So that doesn't matter. If they're gonna get you, they're gonna get you. Of course, you're gonna have to look at it and say, man, do I want to accept that? But if you really need a vehicle in that situation, you would take it. I didn't have to take it. I did because I figured I can handle it. That's why I did it. And I would have been able to do it just fine if I had to deviate from what I was doing and try to do something else. And anyway, that's a story all on its own. That's a whole other story for another video. But again, it doesn't matter in some cases. If a company is going to get you, they're going to get you. Just like with the credit cards. You can have an 800 credit score, but there are certain credit cards where the interest rate is just over 18%, and that's just what it is. They're going to give you a high limit. You're going to get $30,000, but you're going to be paying 18% interest. So sometimes that credit score doesn't matter. If the company is going to do it, they're going to do it. All right. And if you want the item that they're offering, you're going to accept it. You're going to accept what they're offering with the interest rate and everything because you want it. That's just what it is. So the credit score in some instances doesn't even matter. But all in all, with a higher credit score and with a good profile, because it's not even just about the score, with a good profile, you're going to be offered all types of stuff. All types of stuff. And that's what you want. You want to have the option. You want to have the access. All right. Crucial FICO scores in need of updates. In order to help consumers protect their credit during the pandemic, the bureaus have extended the availability of free credit reports until 2022. However, these reports usually do not include your FICO scores. Those you usually have to pay the credit bureaus for, especially if you want to see the ones that will be used when you go to buy that house or car and get an idea of which rate you qualify for. Wow, whoever wrote this article, boy. Anyway, so basically they're saying that you can get your credit reports from annualcreditreport.com, which is offering free credit reports until 2022. All right, I think it's every week. So they're offering your free reports every week for all 3 bureaus at annualcreditreport.com. But with those credit reports, even if you get the free ones from the credit reporting agencies, you will not get your credit scores. The credit scores you have to pay for. That's why I put that link in the description below. The credit monitoring link where you can get your credit scores for free for at least 7 days, along with the reports from all 3 bureaus. All right. So click that link in the description and get, and that way you will know where you're at, you know where you're staying, you know what your scores are and everything. Okay. Another problem related to mortgages, although both FICO and Vantage scores have been recalibrated to reduce the impact of medical debt, those aren't the ones used by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac during the mortgage underwriting process. So to streamline the process, many lenders use the same less forgiving FICO 5, Equifax 4 TransUnion, and 2 Experian scores, and often take your middle score. And again, these are scores that consumers usually have to pay to see. They're also used to evaluate rental applications. So they're using what they call it the mortgage score, and they're using FICO, not Vantage. I know the only one that has used Vantage recently was SBA for the EIDL. They use your Vantage score from Experian. But for the mortgages, they actually use a mortgage score. With autos, they usually use the auto score, and with the credit card, they use what is called the bank card score. Some of them will use the general score, but a lot of times they will use the scores geared toward that industry. So there's different scores. All right. Your credit score also impacts your auto insurance payment, determining whether you can afford to drive that car to work. It might even factor into whether you get that job. It's essentially the report card for a consumer's financial life, we'll say it. Yet for such an important record, credit reports and scores suffer from profound problems and abuses. Okay, so now you see what's going on with Congress trying to take over. Again, I don't think it'll be better. I don't think it could be any worse, but I definitely don't think it'll be better, especially if you figure out how to navigate the credit agencies. And there are different ones. It's not just the big 3. There are other ones as well. There are several. All right, and just do a quick Google search on it. There are other credit reporting agencies out there. It's not just the big 3, but the big 3 are what a lot of different financial institutions use. Okay, so click the credit monitoring link in the description below. That way you get your 3 scores from 3 bureaus: Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. That way you know where you're at, you know how to dispute things. You can go through the do-it-yourself credit repair playlist, and you'll see how to dispute different things and all that. And I have letters in there and everything, so you'll be able to do that. Also, to get your income up, go ahead and click the Wealth Dasher link in the description, and that way you can use your card to dash around town and make $500 to $1,000 plus per week. If you don't want to use your vehicle, you can click the Wealth Hire card to use their car to do all the gig work that you want to do with dashing around town by clicking the Wealth Dasher link. And you want to do Instacart if you want to do, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Amazon Flex, whatever. You can use the Hire card to do just that. If you don't have a vehicle, you can use it as well. Okay. Again, but I hope this video was informative about what's going on with the Congress and the credit, and if I did a decent explanation enough to get you to more understand what's going on in the credit industry. All right. So like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to It's a Wasty. Check out the links in the description. All right. Also, it will go along with this is within the description. You can go with Be Free. Go to Be Free. Check that out, because that's where you can learn how I got 5 properties for $5,500. You want cash back? You can click the cash back link in the description below. That way you can get cash back on all your purchases once you start making this money by clicking the Wealth Dasher link. All right. So again, thanks for watching the video. And until the next video, let's get this money.